Derek, welcome back. Day one, back for pre-season as the head coach of Heart of Midlothian. How does it feel and how has this first day been?
Yeah, good. Obviously, been busy working, but over the last few weeks, it's almost a bit strange situation where you get the opportunity to take the job on, and then everybody disappears on holiday, including myself. But so it's been a wee bit unusual for that aspect of it, but it's good to get in. Obviously, that introduction to the players properly, face to faces. Lots of work to get through. Obviously, there's a lot of boxes to get ticked from the medical point of view and on testing and heart screening and all the various stuff like that. But obviously, brilliant to be here. Obviously, I've been in this week before the players come in and getting to know the environment, getting to know everybody's names and getting to know faces, and just try to familiarise myself really with the job. But basically, just keen to get onto the grass with the players properly. And first step towards that today. Glorious weather, the setting scene here. We're delighted with the facilities we've got. But we're just keen to kind of get the work into the players. There's a fine balance between, because you've had 4 weeks off really from the last game of the season, and we need to get ourselves ready for first game proper with Dunfermline. So there's 3 friendly games, plenty of training sessions to get in, and we get to know the players as we go along. We're still trying to make necessary changes to the squad, but ultimately just looking forward to working with these lads now. Obviously, I know some of them better than I do others, but the new signings get integrated quickly. It's my job, the players' job, staff's jobs to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible. But good to get going.
In terms of new faces then, at the time of recording, 6 new arrivals. Tell us a little bit about them and what you think each of them will bring to the team.
Yeah, well, obviously 1 or 2 were already set in place before I came in, and that can be sometimes maybe a bit of a concern for the player. Obviously, I've been well versed in the players that were already signed, and I think everybody's got something to offer. Obviously there's a lot been made of the Jamestown analytics and the recruitment, and I think we're really fortunate to have that support and that kind of infrastructure behind us. Because like everything else, every signing you make, there's always an element of risk. It's just try to limit that risk as best we can. So we're trying to be specific really with what players we do bring in, but I need to stress the fact that we're not just trying to kind of throw everybody out and fill the place with new players. There's a natural, especially on the back of a disappointing campaign, it's up to me to try and put a squad together that first of all meets the demand of what's expected here. So the players we've brought in, we feel can help us with that, but equally a lot of the players who are already in the building, I feel we can get a wee bit more out of, and that's our job to do that.
As you say, there's a real core of talent here. I imagine there'll be more dealings to come as well as you look to strengthen the squad a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be more wholesale changes. I'm not going to be ripping everything up, as I said, but we'd like to do a couple of bits more business. And obviously you probably asked me about Lawrence, and we're trying to kind of get to the end point with that one as well. We'd like Lawrence to be here as well. So there's still ongoing conversations with certain players and agents and clubs to try and get things done.
Just to, as you say, touch on Lawrence there for a moment. You talking to Sky Sports today, mentioned that you were going to be having further conversations with him. Are you in a position to provide an update on Shankland?
Not in terms of, it's not resolved, but we're in constant dialogue with him. Spoke with his agent as well over the last wee while. Listen, I'm quite relaxed in the sense that I appreciate that Lawrence is no longer a Hearts player. He's got things to think about. He's got lots to consider, I'm sure, and he's got to try and he'll want to try and draw a line under that as well. But for me, what we need to do at Hearts is to try and get to where we need to get to. I've never been one really for putting deadlines in certain things, and I always think that can be problematic and a bit antagonistic. But at the same token, Lawrence is well aware that we've got our season to prepare for. And we've made that clear to Lawrence, he gets it. Lawrence is a player who I think can do so much more for us. Obviously, I think in our team, I think he would be very successful. I can see us being such a strong option for Lawrence for next season. whether Lawrence sees us as the best option remains to be seen. But I think we're still in the fight, and I said that for the outset. I don't want to get involved in the fight to keep somebody that a fight I can't win. I don't feel as though it's not something that we can't win. I think we can win the fight to keep him, but ultimately we can only do so much. And once we get to that point where it seems as if it's pointless trying to get him here, but we're not there yet. And I'm hoping that I can work with Lawrence next season. I hope he can be a Hearts player, and I feel he's got a big part to play. The incentive for Lawrence is clear. He's got to look after his family, so I get that. I think we can provide him so much at Hearts, and I think we can give him so many opportunities to enjoy his career. And ultimately, he's got a World Cup to maybe try and get into the national team next season as well. So, but these are the things that I've spoke to Lawrence about, and hopefully we can find a solution sooner rather than later.
On to preparations for the new season then. Wasn't so much of a sight of a ball today. It was all about testing and doing all that procedural stuff. But can you tell us a little bit about how the next few days and the next week will look for the boys as they ramp up?
Yeah, so obviously the dates were set in place for when we come back. I'd like to have maybe got them in a couple of days earlier, truth be told, but a lot of things, flights and things were booked for the heart screening. So we've still got time enough to make up that ground. So there's a kind of 4-week rest period, and then there's a 3 and a bit week lead into the first game. So we've got work to do. Every day is kind of critical, really. We don't have. We've also got a couple of travelling days that we need to factor into the schedule. We're going to Spain next week, so there'll be further tests tomorrow. We'll introduce the ball and get us moving, and then we've got. I think it's 5 double sessions and a single session before we go to Spain on Saturday. So plenty of work for the boys to get into. It's such an important period. I think players who miss pre-season are always playing catch-up. And I think we want players to make sure they try and hit all their markers through the pre-season campaign. But we want to make sure we integrate everybody, we get that technical feel for the ball again. But ultimately we're going to have to be fit, and I want us to be as fit as we can be, and to be the team that I want us to be. Where players are going to have to run, they're going to have to run hard, and they're going to have to run for a long time in the game. And this is an important period for everybody.
And of course that's where the value of a warm weather training camp really comes into its own to offer you those benefits.
This is our warm weather training camp. You couldn't get any better than this. I've been stuck in that office most of the morning, and it's nice to get out. But equally, I think when you go on these pre-season trips, there's a lot of factors. You take players away from their own environment, where every player's got different demands on them, whether they're fathers and dealing with kids and stuff. We work the players hard through this period, so it's important that they get that rest, so we kind of own that part of it. We feed them what we want. We feed them. We get the rest that they know they're going to get. But there's also that integration part. Plenty of meetings, plenty of getting to know each other. As a new staff, we want to get to know the staff as well as we can, but also get to know our players as well as we can. And then it's an opportunity for the new players to integrate stuff that is standard, stuff that you've heard a million times. But this pre-season trips are more than just about fitness. It's about building those combinations, relationships, and getting to know how we want to work.
Looking ahead then to the Premier Sports Cup, we'll touch on the league fixtures that came out today shortly, but as you say, Dunfermline at Tynecastle for the first game. But what's your analysis of that group, and what do you think we can expect from some of the trips? Yeah,
so we're actually down to play Neil's Dunfermline as a pre-season friendly, but we said we caveated that unless we drew you in the cup, so obviously that was going to be our friendly game when we came back from Spain, so we've managed to squeeze in another one. So we've got 2 friendly games over in Spain. We've got a friendly game when we come back on the Tuesday, closed door game, East Kilbride, and then we play Dunfermline. I think Dunfermline, obviously they're a strong team in it. I think you always, you're going to pick up a championship club, and Dunfermline I think will be strong this year. Not just because of Neil, but especially because of Neil. I think he's obviously committed to Dunfermline because he's been getting certain guarantees and promises about level of budget he's going to be able to work with, and I think in time he'll put together a really strong squad there, so that game will be difficult. And then every game, like every cup game, some games are a bit more difficult than others and more of a challenge, but cup's a cup. You've got to deal with the games, and there's nobody from our point of view looking at these games as a glorified friendlies. I think it's important to stress that I think Premier League teams who have maybe looked at that previously have maybe came unstuck, and it's important that we've got full focus to being ready for all those games, because we want to do well in the League Cup, we want to go the full way, and this is the start of that. So Hampden Cup final seems a long way away, but it's that first game proper against Dunfermline. It's important the players realise that's what we're playing for.
And of course the fixtures for the league campaign were confirmed today as well. Aberdeen, Monday night football, under the lights at Tynecastle. How much are you looking forward to that one?
Do you know what, I think it's a perfect game for us, to be honest. We bit of chuckle at myself when the fixture came out, obviously with my association there, and I wasn't too surprised. Just delighted probably with getting the home game. I think that was important. I think every manager would be looking for that home fixture. And what a tie, what a game. There's two teams with similar expectations, similar ambitions, and we go head to head straight from the get-go. So really pleased that we have that opportunity at Tynecastle when the league game comes round. It's something, I know we need to wait to the Monday, but the game's going to be worth waiting for.
You've arrived here at the club and you've brought Paul Sheeran and Alan Archibald with you. Two guys you've worked with before, two guys you trust. What do they bring to the mix, and what will they bring to the fold?
Yeah, so I think when you work as a manager for as long as I have, I feel as though I've got a small circle, but it's a very tight circle, and then two guys that I trust implicitly. Obviously two guys that I played with as well, and two guys that I've gave coaching jobs to. Paul, my association with Paul was probably a bit longer in terms of gave him the reserve job at St Johnstone way back. He became an integral part of my coaching staff at Aberdeen. Alan was always someone I always thought I would work with. Both guys have been managers in their own rights, and been successful at that. So I feel as though I'm getting not just good guys with good judgment and great qualities, but guys who understand the difficulty of the job, having been a manager themselves, and two guys that we work closely with. But every staff member's got their role to play. Obviously there's some staff that I don't know as well as others, but it takes more than just having a good players. It takes a strong staff, a strong connection with everybody, and looking forward to getting to know everybody. But Paul and Alan, I'm sure if you speak to them, they're equally as excited as I am about the opportunity that Hearts can provide for us, and determined to make the most of it.
More additions to the backroom team as well. The appointment of Ross Grant as set play coach, and that's a role that's we see it a lot down south in the Premier League. A role that's becoming even more important in the context of modern football.
Well, it's a very modern way of working, and for me, Ross wasn't somebody I knew, but having had the conversations and discussions with him, I can clearly see that the benefit of having that, not just the set play, his role to play as a coach as well. He'll become an important part of our staff. So looking forward to getting to know Ross properly. As you mentioned, set plays is vitally important. Sometimes it can be the difference of 3 points and no points, and I think it's important that we try and be as good as we can be in all aspects of it. But something we've always prided ourselves on as a staff, that can we be the best, can we get the best percentages from our corners for us, set plays, throw-ins, free kicks, and equally try and be as stingy and as resolute as we can defending set plays. So we've got lots to get through. I've got an idea how I would like to see that work. I'm looking forward to really getting to know Ross and his thoughts on that. But I do think that going forward it makes a lot of sense, and delighted that we've managed to get Ross on board with us. We know that you're the busiest man up here at Oriam today. A lot of new faces to meet, but just before I let you go, what are you most looking forward to now you're in the role? What are you most looking forward to about life as Hearts manager? I think sometimes being a manager can be challenging. Nobody says it's going to be easy, but you always want to work for clubs with real ambition. You want clubs that can match your own ambition. The reason I was wanting this job, and clearly delighted to be here, was I do feel Hearts can give me what I want, and equally I think I can help Hearts. It's up to us initially just to meet the demand, what's expected of us, and I know the demands, having worked in Scottish football, having worked at Aberdeen, a similar sized club. I know what's expected of us. It's important that we all try and meet those expectations, but in time, can we go beyond those expectations? But first things first, we finished in the bottom half of the table last season, and there's a reason for that. We need to find out the reasons why. We need to make sure that doesn't repeat itself, and we've got work to do to be the best version of ourselves. So, and just because we've got so many obvious advantages over other clubs doesn't guarantee you nothing. And all you can guarantee is we're going to work towards being a successful team, a successful club, and I want the supporters to come and enjoy watching their team, and hopefully that is the case this season, because I want to enjoy my job, and I can only enjoy it when we're winning, and hopefully we'll get a winning Hearts team more often than not.